Hi people, it's Mark from Colours Change Works. Just doing another little video regarding this COVID-19 lockdown period. Just giving you maybe a couple of ideas to think about regards to regaining your own individual power, your things that you can do for establishing your own mental fitness, and things that might have crept in as a result of this lockdown, and maybe you've developed new bad habits or unwanted habits. Maybe there's other little things that kind of crept into your thinking patterns and the way that you speak. And today I want to address the issue regarding our finances. As we all know, during this lockdown period, there's not a lot of people who have the privilege of being able to go to work and earn the money, and some people have become unemployed. They've lost their houses, they've lost their jobs, they've had to get rid of the car, they might have had to sell some of their properties just to generate some form of income. And my observation is that that would generate some kind of pattern of thinking, maybe believing. Stress certainly would come into it. That could result in couples bickering and fighting, arguing. That could escalate into things that are far worse, such as divorce, separation, bankruptcy, domestic violence even, maybe. Certainly from my experience in working with different people over the years, there might be an increase in alcohol abuse or substance misuse. Maybe people would even fall prey to start gambling in this drive to try and get some money, and then that of course has high risk potential of becoming another addiction. Then we've got more than enough to deal with. So here's my advice. We all have income. It doesn't matter whether you're earning thousands a week or thousands a month, or in other people's cases barely getting enough, and in many cases people are living under the breadline. But somehow along the line we all have some form of income. So my suggestion is simply this: look at how much you need to spend on the essentials, your utilities, your gas, your electricity, your water. Become good stewards of your money and don't overspend. Use your money wisely. It might be an idea just to grab a pen and paper and run a budget, writing down things that you have to spend your money on. And I know it's tempting when we go do our shop at the local supermarket or store or grocery place or whatever, to go and buy the tomatoes and the eggs and the bread. And it's very tempting to buy that extra bar of chocolate, that extra can of something cold to drink, maybe that extra bottle of beer, that extra bottle of wine, or whatever the case might be. Tempting. But when we start thinking about the short-term pleasures versus the long-term peace of mind, the lack of stress, the lack of arguing and quarreling, is it really worth that extra bottle of beer, that extra can of beer, that extra portion of chocolate, that extra little slice of cake just to be a good steward of our money. At some point, this lockdown isolation phase in the world will come to an end, and then for most people it would be back to what is considered as normal. Some will go back to work, others will have to go and find work. But this lockdown would come to an end, which is one thing. But here's the other thing. During this financial pressure of this lockdown, that is just a byproduct of isolation and the financial outcomes as to what's going on at this point in time, will develop and encourage extra pressure. It's like I said in another video, it's this pressure cooker effect. It's only natural, it can only happen. And by simply taking the pressure cooker and releasing the pressure with a switch, or maybe taking the lid off, maybe the equivalent of sitting down with your piece of paper and your pen and writing down the necessary stuff. Now I know that that's a discipline, and so many people nowadays don't have these disciplines. So you become so comfortable to live in many ways a reckless life, especially when it comes down to finances, because we know that next month I'm going to get my money, and it doesn't really matter about debt. It doesn't matter whether I can pay my MasterCard off over the next 5 or 10 years. But is it worth the risk of losing your temper and doing something silly? Is your family worth it? Is your life really worth it? So at this difficult point in time in the world, and as we face as individuals and as societies, develop a new habit to look at your budget from a different point of view, doing that something else, that's something different that will make a big difference. So that when we go back to work and money starts coming back in as it normally does, or used to do at least, then we've got another discipline. We may even be surprised at how much extra money we'll be able to spend and save and do nice things with. Holidays, that extra pair of clothes, that extra pair of shoes, or whatever the case might be. So my friends, I'm just here to ask you to take some time out. Invest in yourself. Financial word. Invest time and energy into yourself. And when it comes down to money, yes, it is important to have money. It is only a means of exchange. It's like a post office. One gives, the other one receives. That's all it is. As long as we don't fall into the trap of loving money, falling into this lost thing about it. As long as we stay in charge of our processes about money and what it's there for, us controlling it rather it controlling us. So my friends, I encourage you just to take some time out, become a little bit objective, and sit down and think about all those things that we could do that is different from what we used to do in order to survive financially at this difficult point in time. If this video has helped you, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for other updates as and when I release more of these kind of videos, and please do comment in the comments box below. Thank you very much for your time.